And with great power comes
Great responsibility.
And that comes from the French saying, noblesse oblige. The noble are obligated to take care of the peasants.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Empire Podcast interviews. Yes, so we like to interview everyone from pastors to actors, rappers to trappers, and everybody in between. And yes, we have another great guest today. But before we get into the video, into our guest, into our esteemed person here with us, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You know the bit, you know the game. My name's Antonio Lee Miles. Yes, the host for this evening. Yes, Antonio Lee Miles, the one and the only, the real one, not the phony. And if you didn't heard, then you must not know me. But other than that, let's get into our great guest for today. Man, CEO of his own business, PR firm, communications, I could say, right? Carl, and I want to say your name correct, last name correctly. Is it Dameron? Carl Dameron. Welcome to the podcast.
Like Tad Dameron.
Ah, the composer.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
And a relative.
Uh-huh.
He's a music lover. That's why I said that.
Okay, I was like, is he related to him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Are you yanking our chain today?
No.
Okay. Got not much of a chain yanker.
No.
Okay.
Well, I am, but not on this.
Not in this case.
Yeah, see, I inherited the big hands.
Uh-huh.
The reach.
Gotcha. Speaking of music, I saw all the guitars right here that you have, right? So
Yes.
Is that your primary instrument that you like to play?
I play keyboards equally as terribly as I play guitar.
Gotcha. At least, keyboard's easier. You can just press the note or, it's right there.
To play well, you have to practice.
Yes.
Every day. You
Yes.
have to practice a lot.
Yes.
And there was one time when I did, and that was decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I play terribly. I do not play well.
Okay.
The muscle memory is not there anymore.
It's long gone.
It's just not there.
Is the heart at least still there for it?
If it was, it wouldn't have been decades since I practiced.
Oh, we got to get him back in. Folks. How can we get you back into playing?
That's why I put them on the wall, so I have to walk by them all the time. So I'd be forced to pick them up and play them.
I got you.
Because they were all put away. Now I have to see them. So yeah.
Smart. You got to train yourself in order to make sure everything's correct.
I played a little bit on Sunday.
Okay.
I was playing, yeah.
What were you playing?
Again, I'm back to the chords, relearning the chords.
Okay, got you.
Getting the chord progression down. I try to do a running clink, 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 clink.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get, yeah. Just,
all you need is 3 chords and you're good to go.
Yeah.
You can do that. You got that E8B. You got it.
Yeah,
Right.
What the man said, I learned more in a 3-minute record than I ever learned in school. Bruce Springsteen. Sometimes no disrespect, Springsteen, but sometimes you go a little overboard with your voice, with your vocalizations, but that's just me. Like for example, like We Are the World, when he like Bob Dylan.
Okay.
The worst vocalizations on the planet.
Okay.
And when he's playing his music, it's exactly the way it's supposed to sound.
It works.
I mean, the only writer to win the only rock and roll person to receive a Pulitzer Prize for poetry for his songs.
Okay.
And Bob Dylan didn't go get it. His son went.
Wow.
You know why?
You threw shade on him.
You know why?
No, I don't.
Because he's Bob Dylan.
And he can.
I don't do that. I only do what I want to do.
I like that. That's the way life should be.
Well, yeah. But, and again, when I hear
artists doing things a different way that I may not like, I remember that's an artistic choice that they made.
Yeah, and that's just them.
And that's the way they chose to do it.
Yeah.
And some of them can't. Bob,
What does he sing? What does he do?
Bob Cocker.
Okay.
Robert Cocker.
Okay.
Right? The Tourette's-like movements that he made when he sang.
Yes.
And his voice, he couldn't stop that. That's the way it came out.
That's who he is.
That's who he is. And through my love of music, it has informed my way of being in life, that as a creator of music, you get to do it your way, and no one has to understand it. They like it or they don't.
Gotcha. Take it or leave it.
And there are some people who want to craft music that other people must hear, and they're trying to write the right hooks and things so that people like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson,
Okay.
who issued Thriller.
Okay.
Now, you may not know this, but when I heard that song before I saw the video, it was a hot mess.
Oh, interesting.
Because think about it.
The concept.
You know the concept from watching the video.
Okay. Okay.
When I'm just hearing a song by Michael Jackson, right?
Who just came out with Off the Wall previously.
ABC. I go back to Michael Jackson from Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 started.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
I'm not just thinking Off the Wall. His whole catalog's in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a totally different venture.
True.
And then you got the Vincent Price rap in the middle, like something from Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm. Darkness. That part?
Darkness falls.
Okay.
The midnight hour is close at hand.
Yes.
And evil ghouls from... So, yeah, that whole part.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and you listen to it, it's like, yeah. Vincent Price. And then you see the video, and it drops into place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Michael Jackson didn't write that song.
No, didn't Rod? No.
Rod Temperton.
He did. Okay, I was right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Central Heating, happiness, togetherness, you, I guess. Heat Wave. That Rod Temperton.
Interesting.
He wrote that song.
Yeah.
He wrote half the songs on that album.
Yeah, he
wrote
did.
or co-wrote.
Definitely.
And Off the Wall, too.
Yes.
Right.
Underrated.
Right. But people think Michael Jackson was a performer. He was not a writer. Prince was a writer.
Uh-oh.
And performer.
Uh-oh. Are we going to get into the Prince-Michael Jackson debate?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We're just... I'm sorry. We started talking about creativity and music and musicians and different choices, and those choices being their own.
And their freedom.
And their freedom to express themselves. Mm-hmm. That song got him kicked out of Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Thriller?
Yeah.
Interesting, because it seemed like demonic or whatever?
No, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So...
He was an Adventist?
Yes.
I thought he was Jehovah's Witness.
You're right.
Okay.
Jehovah's Witness. He got him kicked out of the Jehovah's Witness church.
Interesting.
He used to put on disguises and go and do his proselytizing. You go knock on the door.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson did that.
Wow. So much for Come As You Are.
Yeah, but choices.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Choices. We all make choices, and each choice has a price.
Yeah. Basically, every action has a probable, causable reaction.
Every action has a reaction.
Okay.
Not necessarily possible or causable.
Gotcha. He doesn't like the in-between parts that I added in there. Totally fine. I'm with you. I agree. Carl Dameron, for people who don't know who you are and what you do, can you please tell all of us who you are and what you do?
Thank you very much. My name is Carl Dameron. I own and founded Dameron Communications. It's a full-service advertising and public relations firm founded in 1988. We work in advertising, public relations, community relations, and government relations. In advertising, we do radio commercials, TV commercials, billboards, newspaper, magazine, social media, websites, the full gamut. We do it all. We have a staff of 15 international professionals, including 2 PhDs and 4 masters on the creative team.
Awesome. And we're definitely going to get into all of that, folks. And one thing that I like to talk about with people that come on the podcast, which I think a lot of people like to forget about on other events, is can you please tell us all your origin story? And as you know, a man who has Marvel Comics in the wall, I think you know what I'm talking about. But maybe you can give us a brief summary as far as, you know, how you grew up, where you grew up, and how you got to the person and the man that you are today.
Choices. Life is full of choices.
Yes, sir, always.
And some people think that they're not going to make a decision, and they forget when you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Period.
So I was born in the Midwest in East St. Louis, Illinois, which is across the river from St. Louis.
Okay.
And at that point, the Mississippi River is more than a half-mile wide. So it's a real river, not like in California, where we have river beds and we call them
rivers. Yes.
Yes, I was born in 1959. So when I was born, blacks were still second-class citizens.
Okay. Jim Crow and everything?
Yeah. Jim Crow was alive and well, which is why we needed the Civil Rights Bill of 1964 and the Voting Rights Bill of 1965.
Gotcha. Quick question. I remember I was talking to someone who was born in Memphis, and they said that they thought that at the time Martin Luther King was a troublemaker, stirring up all this ruckus because, you know, everything was kind of fine the way it was, and this Martin Luther King guy shows up and now he wants to create change. Was that something that was
White people thought that.
I heard this from a African American woman, a black woman.
White people thought that. That was the dominant view of the Caucasians.
Okay.
There's an interesting, I'm really big in the research. There's an interesting research. When you research whites and you ask them about how do they feel about race relations, you know, man, everything's good. There's not really a problem. Which is exactly what they said in 1950 and 1960. In other words, because it doesn't affect you, the vast majority of Caucasians, white people, are not aware of the problem because it doesn't affect them.
Easily.
Blacks have been complaining about being abused by the police for hundreds of years, and white people didn't believe them because when they got pulled over, they didn't have to sit on the curb. They didn't get disrespected. The Rodney King video.
I was just going to say Rodney King.
Was that point where we go, we have proof. And it was not taken by a black person. It was taken by someone else. Can't remember if it's, my mind says it was an Asian, but I can't remember. Okay. It was taken by someone else. And it was proof positive. And that's why we had riots when the whites were acquitted, because we had believed that finally justice will be served and there will be a change.
Yeah.
And there wasn't.
Gotcha.
So that's the world I was born into. My father worked for the United States government. My mom worked for the IRS. I have 4 sisters and 1 brother.
Okay.
We lived in a nice house, 2-story house on a 1/4 acre with a guest house in the back.
Ooh.
And my father was also a private lender. In those days, blacks couldn't get loans from the bank, so you had to get loans from each other.
Gotcha.
And he also owned pool halls with gambling in the back and nightclubs with gambling in the back.
Wow. Reminds me of Little Richard's father.
Yeah, so he was. Yeah, and we were not hurting.
Okay.
And then my father died in 1965. He had a stroke and dropped dead in the front yard.
Wow.
In front of me and the family.
Wow.
He died in my arms.
Wow.
And my whole world changed.
How old were you?
6 years old.
Okay. Okay. Please continue to how we got to where you are now.
So, life changed. Instead of having lots of people over, I was at a family reunion in 2008, and I was talking about how the mayor and the chief of police used to stop by our house all the time. I was with some of my older cousins, and they started laughing. They were laughing hysterically.
Okay.
I'm like, well, what's going on? I said they weren't his friends. They were coming by to pick up their envelope.
Their payout.
They came by to pick up their envelope
Gotcha.
once a week. That's why they were.
Gotcha.
And find out that my father's big group of friends that he hung around with, my father was 6'3".
Okay.
He was slight built, 6'3", like 185, like Obama.
Okay.
Right, but he had some 6'5" gorillas, and because he had a diversity of sizes and shapes of friends.
I like that. He knows how to split.
There was a group of like 6, 8 of them.
Okay.
And you find out that was his crew.
Got you. I got you. His posse.
His crew.
His crew.
There's a difference.
There's a difference
between a posse and a crew.
Can you elaborate for us who may not know the difference?
A posse hangs out with you. A crew works for you.
I like that.
And I'm using the crew in the Italian mafia.
I like the sense of the word.
Sense of the word.
Got you. I love it.
And I'm told that they were not a violent bunch, but anyway. So then my father died, and then 1973, after turmoil, I marched for civil rights. I marched for women's rights. I marched for voting rights.
Okay.
I'm 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
That's what I
11,
was
12.
saying.
Yeah. I'm out there, but I'm out there in the street. I'm marching. That's what we did.
Got you. Are you with your mom doing this, or?
I'm with my sister, who's 2 years older than me.
Got you. So you guys are not even teenagers yet. Okay.
But we still niggas.
Yeah.
We know what wrong is, and my sister said that we're going, and we went.
Okay.
And my mom went sometimes, but there was other children at home to take care of, younger children.
I got you.
When I was 10, my brother was born. So
Okay.
when I'm 13, he's 2, 3. She's got 4 kids at home under 8.
Okay.
But I marched. I was out.
Okay.
We got called names and
The whole nine.
the stuff thrown at it. We didn't get dogs and we didn't get hoses because we were in East St. Louis and St. Louis.
Okay.
But yeah, it was not nice.
Okay.
But it was not like Selma or Memphis. I'm not saying that.
Got you.
Okay. And then in 1973, as the East St. Louis you've heard about the degeneration of the Rust Belt.
No, do not know.
Okay, so at the turn of the century, those cities that were built up after the Civil War and as the nation grew, the steel towns, the aluminum towns, the cement towns, the cement factories, the stockyards, the coal plants, all that. So a lot dirty industry.
Yeah.
They died. They moved offshore. A lot of it moved offshore. And
Okay.
the cattle yards, they consolidated. And East St. Louis became a black city and a black run city. So we had massive white flight.
Okay.
And it was devastating. When we left, the population of East St. Louis was about 100,000, 100 to 120. It's like 5,000 now.
Whoa.
Where our house is a field. It's a urban forest, like you see in Detroit where the trees grow up. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And so
we moved out here in 1973.
Okay.
I'm 13 years old. I go to Rubidoux High School. I'm in Southern California, and life changed.
Got you.
I mean, we're in Southern California. We're in the most cosmopolitan place in the country.
Okay.
Blacks came out here big time, World War II. Remember, women came out to work in the shipbuilding plants.
Yes.
And the aircraft manufacturing plants, because about half the workforce was women, because the men were
At war.
correct.
For the suffragette movement and stuff like that.
Right, and they needed a huge labor pool, and they were, we need to win so we cannot be slaves. So, y'all black people, come on, we'll give you jobs. So there was a huge migration to the West.
Okay.
And, people think about it just in Los Angeles, but it was also out here. The Skunk Works, the place where they did all the experimentation for Lockheed Martin and airplanes, was at Ontario Airport.
Ontario Airport?
Ontario Airport was where they developed secret planes.
Interesting.
Like, Ontario and Norton.
Interesting.
So I'm just saying that people think that there was no here for Riverside. No. And Roar Aircraft in Riverside that makes aircraft parts was huge. They're as big as almost as good as a Hughes. I remember Hughes Aircraft was still here.
Okay.
So
Wow.
So they needed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of workers. And blacks came out because the guys came out in the military, and then after they got out, instead of going back to South Carolina and Mississippi, they stayed here. And so when we moved to a place called Paramount Estates in Rubidoux, which was primarily occupied by retired Air Force men, black men and women.
Okay.
From March Air Force Base and Norton Air Force Base.
Interesting.
So I moved from a black population into another black population, but this was a disciplined, educated black population.
Got you. Military background.
Right. A lot of them, a third of them were retired. So they did their 20. They went in their 17, they did their 20, so they're 37, they're 40 years old.
Yeah.
They're starting a second career, right? Many of them, but they're not just military, they're retired military, and they went in where blacks were treated like dirt.
Got you.
So their level of discipline and control and understanding of the system was off the charts different from what I was used to.
Wow.
Because they had to do it to survive.
Period.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were all, they were sergeants and master sergeants, and they were NCOs. But it was a fabulous and wonderful world to be in as a young black man. And then I also understood when I moved out, no one knew me, no one knew anything about me, so I could be anything I want.
Start fresh.
I could be anything I wanted, and I could do anything I wanted. I went to a parochial Catholic school for 8 years, so we got a great education, right? But now I'm in and we've got auto shop, we got all the sports, we had FFA, we got welding.
What's FFA?
Future Farmers of America.
Oh, wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
I'm telling you, not that I was a member of FFA, but the diversity of choices was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, almost every educational program that existed was there. And so I have all these choices open to me. So I can do, it's not basketball, football, baseball.
Got you.
Just also, there's track, there's tennis, there's badminton, there's all this stuff. So I wanted to be in drama, so I was in drama.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be on the swim team. I joined the swim team. First black to join the swim team. And there was no big deal. I wanted to be an auto shop, learn how to repair cars. Took auto shop. Took auto body painting and auto body refinishing. How to fix the body, how to paint the body. I took welding. I also took college prep courses.
Okay.
So, you're supposed to be a jock, the prep guy, or the gearhead, or the shop guy.
Yes, sir.
I did it all
Why not?
because I wanted to.
And you could.
Yes, and I was blessed because I wanted to. In my sophomore year, my counselor was telling me that I couldn't cross. And I was complaining to my principal one day. We had a wonderful principal. On all the breaks, he was out on campus walking around. He knew everybody's name everyone in the school by name.
Wow. Respect.
It was Walt Holmes. So I complained to him. He said, let me check it out. Complained in the morning, the afternoon, he said, I solved it.
Woo!
He says, I'm your counselor now.
End of story.
And he only counseled, the principal only took the bad folks, the worst people and no one else.
Hilarious.
But he took me, and I was not bad. And so, because I wanted to create my own program, I had to explain it to him and justify it. He always said yes, but he made me tell him why.
I love it.
So, I say that, when we talked about choices, I was blessed to be able to make those choices, to be in an area, in a situation where I could do that. There were many blacks who was like, no, you pick one of these three and you do it. You can't, no.
You can't go across all of them.
No.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing. So I got a great education. I went to Cal Poly Pomona.
Technical school.
I wanted to be an engineer.
Ooh.
But I double majored in engineering and communications.
Okay. What type of engineering?
I started in electrical.
Okay.
Drawing those little lines on a piece of paper was the most boring thing I could imagine. We're taking engines out of cars, rebuilding them, cutting 24 inches out of cars and welding them back together.
Awesome.
Right? We're doing, we're chopping
serious
things.
Stuff.
We're rebuilding engines and not just taking it apart, we're rebuilding them. Learning the machining, doing a valve job with all the grinding. I mean, when I say I can rebuild a car, I mean I can rebuild the whole car.
I like it from scratch.
I can take it all apart and put it all back together.
Gotcha. So you can make your own car if you wanted to.
Now, the metal fabrication is more difficult, but I learned that. I also learned that. So, yes, but I haven't done that in 30 years. So
okay.
I like to think I still could, but I can't.
It might be like riding a bike.
It's like riding a bike, but on Saturday I went and my brother bought a new house in Bakersfield, so I went and we tore up carpet and painted and all that stuff. Yeah, I've been suffering. I suffered on Sunday and I'm suffering today.
Okay.
Yeah, I sit behind a desk and use my little fingers to push buttons and I talk on the phone. This brother don't do no hard work.
Got you.
Yeah, sweating in the sun all day for a week, staying in a car. Yeah, that ain't
thank
me.
you. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, I have other things that I can do.
Got you.
And
priorities.
That was entertaining, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it at the time. And that is not something I do not wish to do at this time. I have other things that I prefer to do.
I love that. Okay, and so after you went to Cal Poly for communications,
right,
and engineering, did you graduate with both degrees or just in communications?
Just in communications.
Okay.
I was there for 8 years, and around my 4th year, I'm looking at my engineering grades and my communications grades, and I'm getting A's and B's in my communications. I am not getting A's and B's in my engineering courses.
I got you. Okay.
And it became clear which direction
to go.
Which direction my future lied.
I love that.
And, to chemistry and physics,
yes,
and calculus.
You have to.
And, I took all these wonderful courses, right? So I am not an engineer, but when an engineer talks, I understand what he's saying.
You're not lost in the sauce.
I'm not lost in the sauce.
So,
I'm not an engineer. I cannot do engineering, but I understand what they're talking about. I understand science. I understand math. I understand that.
Which is critical.
Yeah, well, because most engineers cannot communicate what they do. I also have a minor in computer science, economics, psychology, hotel restaurant management, and oceanography.
Wow, it's a lot.
So it goes back to I have choices. I can do whatever I want. I chose to take those other courses because they interested me and I liked them.
And I love it.
When I got to Cal Poly, you had to take a PE course. And I'm looking through PE and I see in PE scuba diving.
Uh-oh. I love it.
Now, I used to watch The Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to be an astronaut, so I took scuba diving. And I got to do the same thing at Cal Poly. I got to do the things I wanted to do. I get to take courses I wanted to do. And I got to develop myself across channels. Is in communication, you're supposed to pick a track. TV production, radio production, newspaper, printing. Of course, I wanted no track. I took all the courses.
Gotcha.
I was the general manager of the college station. I worked for the TV production crew. I did AV setup. You know the guy who came around to do the AV setup? Set up the projectors and stuff and picked up and drove around? Yep, did that.
Did all of it.
Well, here's the thing about that is that classes are from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 5 days a week.
Okay.
So it's a part-time job where I could work 2 hours here, 2 hours there, and I'm on campus.
The whole time.
I'm on campus, so I don't have to travel to my job. I just walk.
Good to go.
And then because I'd been an AV tech and I've got all these skills, I would do maintenance. They hired me in the maintenance department.
Okay.
So, and I'm getting paid really well.
Okay.
I'm getting paid more than if I was working someplace else.
Interesting.
And I'm on campus.
Interesting.
And then then they created a mobile setup for me. So I got keys to all the panels. So whenever I wanted to, 20 hours a week, I just go in and I clean all the machines in this room, take my stuff to another room, leave it there, come back, clean all the machines in that room. I just got a key.
I love it.
I work for the police department in the information booth and as a night escort.
Okay.
So I had a wonderful and fabulous experience at Cal Poly Pomona.
Wow.
And I got to do a whole lot of things. I had the keys to the whole campus.
This is awesome.
On my key ring, and I used to, the women who want to ride back to their car. So I had the chief's car, and I would pick them up, put them in the car, drive them to their car.
Escort them, back.
It was nice escort.
Wow.
So I had great jobs on campus, paid well.
Can't go wrong.
Yep.
So what made you want to go from being an employee to an employer?
I started pushing a lawnmower when I was 9 years old. And I really liked that, having my own money. When I was about that age, in the summer, I'd cut the neighbors' grass. You have a few widows on the street.
Okay.
So you cut their grass, you rake their leaves, and they give you 50 cents.
Okay.
Well, comic books were a nickel.
Wow.
Candy bars were a nickel.
Wow.
50 cents was a lot of money.
Definitely.
So I had learned. So all my life, I had odd jobs. When it snowed at school,
you shoveling snow?
I couldn't wait to get home.
Cause you could shovel.
Cause I shoveled all their walkways, and I didn't do it for money. They would give you 50 cents, and hot cocoa, and freshly made cookies. So I learned early that the service industry pays well. And I didn't ask them. I knew they wanted, so I just shoveled their walks. And of course, they're always home, and they paid me. So I learned to be an entrepreneur early.
Yes.
And I had jobs. My first job at the summer of 14, they have the youth employment. I worked in program evaluation for the Riverside Day Treatment Program, which took criminally mental ill inmates who had 20, 30-year terms and had been deemed to be no longer violent, and they gave them mental health services.
Okay.
So when I got there, they didn't really want me, but I got shoved there.
Okay.
And so they had me do the job that nobody else wanted to do, was tabulating and assembling the evaluation part of the treatment. So I'm crunching numbers and averages and all that. By the time I left, by the time at the end of the summer, I wasn't just crunching the numbers that they gave me. I was reading the notes, evaluating the notes to determine the numbers, and crunching the numbers.
Wow.
I was so good that I stayed with them until the swim season started.
They had
January.
to keep you. They had to keep you.
Well, the reports were the best they'd ever been. Because I'm focused. And there, they would got me to the point where I would go and sit in on the group therapy sessions.
Wow.
So I could watch to help create the evaluation. I'm 14.
Okay.
No, I'm 15. I turned 15 that summer. So I'm 15 years old. And one of the things they taught them was the relaxation techniques. So I'm getting all these tools that criminally insane people need. People who were both criminals and had serious mental illnesses.
Yes.
I'm getting serious coping skills that I really needed from my PSD trauma from growing up in East St. Louis. So I am getting these things. I can go to be asleep in a minute.
Can you tell us one of the techniques if you remember anything?
Well, I practice it every night. That's where you start with your toes and you flex your toes and you release them. And then you flex your foot and you release it. And you work all the way up, all the sections of your body. You flex it and hold it for 30 seconds and release.
Okay.
So what you're doing is releasing all the tension. And what you don't know is you're carrying in tension, all that tension there. And by flexing as hard as you can and releasing it, you've now cognitively released it. And as you released it, now you know what it feels like to be released. Because you're always stressed. So you're always tight. So you don't know what it's like to be loose. So you do that all the way up to your body, up to your scalp. Release it. And by the time you finish, you are relaxed.
And good to go to sleep. Or
And
rest.
at the end of the day, you fall asleep. I've been doing it so long, I literally run through the whole thing in 30 seconds and I'm asleep.
No problem at all.
I learned to release the whole day and release all the tension in my body.
Wow.
So I'm learning wonderful life lessons, and I'm learning, they're telling these people about how their choices, right? Choices, right?
That's the
And I'm
theme for today.
And I'm looking where they are. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they had some bad breaks. They got screwed over, but they did kill somebody. It was choices.
Yes.
And that it wasn't just that one big choice, but it was a series of choices that led you here. And then it was a series of choices that led you to be in that part. You know how when we were growing up, your mom said, you ain't got to be there. You ain't supposed to be there. You over that house and all that trouble, you wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes.
We know we're not supposed to be in places, but for reasons, from peer pressure to whatever, we go, and that voice says, it's time to leave, and we don't leave.
Yep.
So I learned, when you look around, they're about 4 drinks in now, and then the quiet conversation, because it's starting to get loud, and people start the case and call each other's names. Time to go.
Time to go.
Time to go. And I've learned, you don't wait till once they get about 3 drinks in, it's time to go.
Experience.
Time to go, because somebody's 7 drinks in.
Period. Yep.
So there's a time where it's time to go. and I had the opportunity to learn these things. But the most important thing I learned is that the choices that I could do. So I'm learning the stuff about the negatives. I'm applying my brain and all my mathematics skills that I've learned. And I'm also applying my ability to reason, cognitive, right?
Okay.
Right? I'm applying I get to apply all of this, right?
Yep.
Right? And they pay me. And they increase my level of responsibility. And I learned that, yeah, you got to pay attention to all of it, the whole thing.
Okay.
So, I did good in high school, went to Cal Poly, did the same thing, partied a little bit too much. Well, it took me 8 years, but I had a good time.
That's what matters.
You ever do drugs?
Yeah, I think we've all done drugs.
Yeah, well, there are some people, all you people out there, if you've never done drugs, don't worry, I did your share. But I stopped doing drugs in 1984.
Gotcha.
Because I got one of those moments where you realize that this is not helping me. This is no longer fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped.
Gotcha. And so how did we get to...
And when I graduated,
Yes.
I came out and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to work in radio. I wanted to work in video production. I applied. I didn't take an internship because I wasn't working for nobody for free.
Period.
And you learn, no, you have to go work for people for free because that's how you make connections and people learn who you are, what you do, and what you're capable of.
Yep.
And yeah, you've got this nice little group of people who know, but they don't have the ability to hire you to do that.
It's completely different.
It's completely different. So you have to do whatever you have to do to break into that world. And an internship is that wonderful. It was designed to have you break into that world.
Yeah, period.
So you go do the internship. You go get the coffee. You do whatever they want you to do because can you shut the F up and do what we tell you to do?
Yeah. Can you follow orders? Yeah.
So can you follow orders without complaining?
Yeah.
Can you do it with joy? Can you get my sandwich, everybody's convoluted sandwich order right?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can do all that right. Now you can get this other convoluted process right that if you mess it up costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So how did you go from that to
So
where we are
I
today?
finally got a job with some other place with a firm down in Orange County. I worked there. I worked for Cola Radio for a couple years doing radio sales. I got in the industry and I just hit it. And this is what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why wasn't I practicing the guitar? Because I was doing that.
Yeah. Your time was going somewhere else.
I studied. Because, you studied in school. Now you got out.
Yeah.
And even if the books are at least 2 years old.
Already.
So now you got to catch up to what's happening now. So I spent all my time learning and practicing my craft and working in the day, volunteering for, nonprofit organizations at night. And I did it all day, all night for a decade.
Wow.
That's what I did.
Wow.
And, and then I got I was working for a firm in Orange County, and then I was pitching a firm out here because I hated driving. So if I get some Inland Empire clients, I won't have to drive.
Save you the gas.
Right. And I was married. The wife didn't want to move. And so I got on with AutoCell, which owned 7 auto electronics stores in the Inland Empire. And that's when cell phones were just coming on. You had the bag, not just the brick. This is when you carried the bag. And you did the car inserts. So this is
Probably late 80s, early 80s?
88.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This is 85, 86.
Okay.
85, 86. And I did a great job. And then they went bankruptcy. But before they went bankrupt, they said, you did such a great job. You did better than we ever thought. You actually helped us sell all this inventory. But unfortunately, our financial position is terrible. We can't get more we can't buy more inventory, so I have to let you go.
Okay.
I did beyond his wildest expectations. And I won, and I still lost. And
It's like a lesson learned.
no, that did not compute.
Okay.
That I'm an auto mechanic, right?
Yeah.
You paint the car, it's pretty, it's shiny, everybody's happy.
Period. Yep.
Yeah, the car did not run, the car now runs, A plus B plus C equals D.
Yep.
It came back Z.
Gotcha. There's some missing parts in that equation that you weren't told.
And remember when you said equal and you had all those caveats for equal opposite reaction?
Mm-hmm.
No. So in other words, I'm wildly successful, so now comes the raise and more work and more rewards and more money. And I got fired.
Yeah.
My point is, things don't happen the way you expect them to happen.
Yep.
And, it was tough, and then I was trying to get a local job, and I couldn't get a local gig, and I decided that I was going to, I'll start my own business and drive them all out of business.
I like it.
Yeah, 1988. I'm gonna do it myself.
Got you.
So yeah.
And the rest is history.
Lots of hard work.
I don't think anything gets done without hard work.
Correct.
Yeah. Anything right, at least.
Hard work and passion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a rule that you need to do something for 10,000 hours to become a master.
That's what they say.
And well, you can do those 10,000 hours, 20 hours a week, or you can do them 100 hours a week.
Get it to it quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose 100.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 120.
Whatever to get the job done.
Well,
yeah.
And again, when you have a passion for it, when you're getting paid to have fun, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And I love the whole communications that I get to do the research and find out who's the target audience, right?
Oh, we're definitely getting to that.
The target audience, the target demographic, the psychographic, what are their likes, their wants, their dislikes, how much money do they make, where they live. You learn that like people live together, that when you find a customer, if you've got a customer and he's a good customer at your electronics shop, you go to his zip code and now you advertise in a 3-mile radius of that zip code of where he lives because there are more customers like him there because like people live together.
Period. I got you. That makes sense.
And and so you learn all those things, you apply all those things, and they work. You learn that, it's mass media, that in sales, when you go and you knock on a door and you sales, you knock on 100 doors, 3 people are interested, and if you're lucky, you get one to 3. You get 1 to 3 sales.
Yeah.
So people who do sales get discouraged because you got 97 no's.
Yeah.
I don't try to sell ice cubes to Eskimos. I'm trying to sell ice cubes to people who live in the desert.
Right.
Because they want them.
Especially in the summer.
And they're going to be repeat customers.
Yeah.
If I bamboozle you and sell you ice cubes to an Eskimo, it's a one-time purchase. And then you're going to be negative about me to the other people.
Got you.
But if I match the need of the product to the person and give them what they want and need, now they will come back and buy more.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, there's so much I want to say. Okay, I have to say it because it's part of my... We had an experience earlier today outside with someone running a business. And one of my biggest issues with people, and I don't understand it, is like, and I would love to learn from you what your opinion is. Why do you think people do bad business, and how are they able to stay in business when they have done bad business?
1, you don't know what you don't know.
Okay.
So if no one teaches you how it's done, or you don't go out of your way to learn how it's done, right? How can you do it right? Excuse me.
Gotcha. If you want some water, you can get some water. If you
Thank
want.
you.
Okay.
So when you look at people who work for a business performing badly, it's usually because of bad training. They weren't properly trained. So you have to train your people. If your people are doing something wrong, it's usually management's fault.
Okay. It starts from the top.
The fish rots from the head.
I like that.
Old French saying.
I like that.
That's why when you go to the fresh fish market, they have the whole fish with the head on. And when you look at the eyes just have to be clear. The eyes are cloudy, you don't buy that fish.
Little food lesson for you guys there.
Well, but you see how it all matters?
Yeah. Yes.
How it all comes together? So, poor service is not that the company doesn't understand. It's that for some reason or another, they did not properly invest into that employee. They haven't properly assessed what he's doing, or his supervisor does not care.
Gotcha. What if, hypothetically speaking, what if it's like an entrepreneur? So it's like a self-employed person and they're doing bad business.
You don't know what you don't know.
Gotcha. So it could, gotcha.
So I have a passion, right? And I want to sell you a cell phone, but my education is, hey nigga, buy this cell phone.
Gotcha.
Shit, you need to buy this shit.
Oh, okay.
It's only $1,000. You know you got it.
My chest.
But you understand?
Yeah.
That's their acculturation. They don't know. And Apple doesn't beat people in the head. Apple has the highest profit margin for any major manufacturer on the planet. Cost them $100 to make this phone up. Cost me $1,000.
Gotcha. Oh, well, what a markup.
Well, they got marketing and all the other slick and beautiful things. But one of the things that Steve Jobs learned,
Rest in power,
is that people think about the front. But when his dad was teaching him to build a fence, he says you have to look at the back, and the back should be as pretty as the front. And most people think it's the back. It doesn't matter. Bill Gates learned it does. Steve Jobs learned it does. So, iPhone is a work of art.
Definitely. The MacBook too as well. That's why when you lift it up, people can see the Apple sign.
When Steve Jobs left Apple.
For Pixar?
When he got fired from Apple.
Okay.
When Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, Apple computers started looking like IBM's.
Interesting.
Square boxes. When he came back, they went back to having beautiful, unique shapes.
Gotcha.
That were beautiful works of art that you were proud to have on your desk.
Gotcha.
You know, the computer, just the screen with the keyboard that sticks up.
Yep.
You see those? Apple did that. And everyone else emulated.
Yeah.
And Apple leads, everyone else follows.
Creative mind, creative director.
The back of the
MacBook?
Don't know. Listen. The back of the computer screen.
Yeah.
Right. You go into a business, you see the back of a PC. It's ugly. You see the back of a Mac screen. It's beautiful.
Like yummy.
You understand?
100%.
And because of that, they're able to charge a premium for their products.
Gotcha. Oh man, this goes into branding, right? And stuff like that, and right?
What's our brand? Our brand is not just the best computer, but it's the best in every way.
User-friendly.
Graphic user interface, which was created by Xerox, by the way.
Okay.
And they didn't know what to do with it. So they had it in their, in the
Like their vault or something?
no, they didn't have a vault. They had a campus. They had an education campus, and they let other people come in. And if you like what you see, you can buy it. We'll license it. We can use it.
Cool.
All the stuff that they had created that they didn't know how to use or they weren't going to use, they had this educational library, and that's why Gates went in. That's why Apple developed the mouse and the the graphic user interface.
Yes.
And then Gates went in and did it with Windows, and they never sued them because it wasn't theirs in the first place. It was Xerox's.
So they couldn't sue.
So they both licensed it
I love it.
from Xerox.
Xerox got paid twice?
Yeah, Xerox still getting paid. Mm-hmm. Every mouse, Xerox gets a piece of.
I like it.
So there's another lesson. When I can't use my technology that I created and I invested in, how do I recoup my money?
Got you.
I create a mechanism where other people can look at what I developed and choose to license it or not. Instead of putting it in a vault and locking it away and nobody sees it.
I love it.
But okay, you understand.
100%. I'm with you.
But Xerox did that because they're technical pioneers. They love what they did. And I created this beautiful thing, but I can't use it. But I want somebody else to use it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
When you become a master at what you're doing and you have an internal passion that drives you, that internal passion, example. When I started in advertising, we still did pay stubs, where you literally took a line of type and you pasted the type on a board. When we talk about cut and paste, you cut it out with an X-Acto knife and paste it in another letter.
Wow.
Okay? And then I learned computerization. Okay? When the internet, I used the internet when I was at Cal Poly, it was communications. You know, the internet was created by DARPA.
Okay.
The United
Up
States.
in Alaska.
No. DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Projects and advancement. I can't remember the
Gotcha.
stand for.
I thought they were located in Alaska, sorry.
No, DARPA's in D.C., but
Okay.
DARPA's everywhere.
Okay.
And DARPA's job is to think, what are we going to use 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and let's work on that technology. Well, they created the internet, so because they've got all these missile silos. How do you communicate? So anyway, the internet was created by DARPA, by the United States government, who then rolled it out and let other people use it. The next people to pull it on board were colleges and universities, so they could computer link their libraries together. And then they linked their computer software systems together. And from there, it rolls downhill. There's something called Moore's Law. So
That sounds very familiar.
So in Moore's Law, transistors will become half the size, right, and half the cost every 2 years.
Okay. Like the chips.
Chips.
Like computer chips.
Yeah. So they'll be half the size, half the cost, and double the computing power every 2 years.
Wow. I love it. I want to talk so much about Mac right now.
So
Yes.
this is a supercomputer.
Apple.
No, this cell phone is a supercomputer.
Yeah, in your hand.
Yeah, this cell phone would run the United States Defense Network in 1965 and be 10 times better than what they actually had. That is the power of Moore's Law. That is the power of passionate people bringing everything they've got to the table, doing the best they can all day, every day. And now it's in our hands, and I can video chat with my sister who lives in Paris for free.
With no problems, no issues.
No. My phone bill when I started my business in the 80s would be $1,500 a month.
Talking overseas? Just doing business.
Local calls cost more than long distance calls.
Wow.
When you're a business, if I call the business next door, I pay. It costs me, I can't remember, but it costs me per minute.
Wow.
So everybody I called, it cost me per minute. At home, local calls were free, but your long distance calls cost. But long distance was not to New York. Long distance was Redlands.
Got you. From San Bernardino to Redlands.
Cost to Colton, cost.
Wow.
So my phone bill was $1,500 a month. I have 5 lines. Cost me $350, and we can video chat for free.
Yeah. Moore's Law. Moore's Law.
So because I learned technology, because I learned to work with my hands, and because I was encouraged to do things out of the box, I was encouraged to adopt new technology as I grew up. I continued the adoption of new technology. I'm 63 years old.
Amen.
And there's a whole bunch of technological stuff that I would bet dollars to donuts that I know and I can use better than you.
Hey, I'm not going to argue it.
No, so I learned to adopt new technology. So as websites came on, I brought on websites. As email came on, we brought on email. So we added websites, and then we noticed as we did press releases, when we first started writing press releases and send them out to the media, I used to mail them. So I would 65 letters a week, 65 letters every time I did it. The cover letter, the 1 to 2 page press release, right? We would stuff it and put it in an envelope and type a label and put it all together and put a stamp on it and put it in the mail. Either that or you could drive it around and drop it off. Then we got fax machines. And I could fax, but I could fax the text, but I still had to mail the pictures. And then we got the internet. And I could post the picture and the photo on the website. And the big companies added websites, and they added a news page, but it would take them 2 to 4 weeks to post their press release on the news page. So I added a news page on my site. So because when we finished the press release, we wanted it out now.
Immediately.
So because we created it on our website, the news page, and it was a blog.
Yep,
we just
blog.
called it news, so I could paste the picture and the story, and it was up now.
I love it.
And that is how advanced. Now, as we went along, I sent out a photographer. We have an event. We take pictures, right?
Smart.
So he takes 100 pictures. We use 2.
Yeah, I was going to say 5.
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
Right? So the other 95 pictures are just sitting in a book
Archive?
someplace. In
Okay.
an archive, we give them a copy to our clients. We put together a book, give a copy to our clients, and then we'd have the master archive with the negatives. We put it in things. Then we go to digital. Now we save all the files on the hard drive.
Yep.
We give them to the client. We create them in both high res and low res.
Smart.
Put them on a CD and give them the CD. Because, it was you couldn't do data transfers.
Gotcha.
So we put it on a CD. But if we have an event today, you get the CD tomorrow.
Boom. And that's what you're talking about, being involved with the technology evolution.
Now, and then one day it hit me.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We got 95 photos we're not using. And in Apple iPhoto, there's a way where you could create a slideshow.
Yep.
And so in 2002, 2003, we would export it as a slideshow, upload it to YouTube. No, first we'd export it as a slideshow, and then we'd attach the slideshow. So at the end of the press release, there'd be the slideshow, and it'd go through, and it would show the number on it, right?
Yeah.
There's an image number.
Yep.
we have it show it on the screen. And so we put a note. If you attended that event and you want one of the pictures, email Chris Sloan. Email Chris at DameronCommunications.com about the event and the number, and we'll
send it to you.
And we'll email you the picture.
I love it.
Now all 100 pictures were posted on the website.
Got you.
And we got to see all the pictures. Now the photographer is happy because all of his work is not wasted. Now all his work is there.
Everyone's happy.
He's pretty. And then the other 50 people who weren't in one of the 5 folks can now go and see those.
Yeah.
We started that first in the country. Now it's standard.
Boom. You spoke about the blog post, right? And so it makes me want to go into
news post.
Sorry, news post. Apologize.
Tell me why I call it a news post instead of a blog post.
I think it sounds more relevant, more professional.
Because a blog is throwaway, but we've been trained all our life that news is
important. Yep.
Perceptions.
100%. Which I'll definitely get into as well, hopefully. I wanted to talk to you about something that's
really long and really convoluted, but it's a long journey to get here. So I learned, I applied, and I still learn.
Got you. Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you about, amazing story, by the way. What definitely stuck with me, like super heavy, is the story about your father. I can tell how impactful that was. But what I wanted to talk to you about is something that's going to be coming up very soon during Black History Month, and it's called the Black Rose Awards.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So for 30 years ago, African American leaders saw that Black history was not discussed or shared or widely available. And so the San Bernardino Black Culture Foundation decided that they were going to have, they created a Black History Parade. So we once a year during Black History Month, we would have a parade.
I remember that.
Of Black people with Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Riverside's still going on, and San Bernardino's will come back, but there was an MLK Day parade.
Mm-hmm.
And I was privileged to do PR for that and be involved in that. And they also created the Black Rose Award, and the Black Rose Award recognize blacks and people who serve the community.
Okay.
And an annual award where several people were recognized, they received their award, we'd have a big gala, and we all got together and started it. And Jim King was one of the people who started it, and at the time he worked for Edison. And he got Edison to significantly support that effort.
Wow.
And then Southern California Gas Company, so the utilities supported and government supported, so we got significant support.
Mm-hmm.
And then quickly 500 to 700 people would show up.
Wow.
This year's ticket is $75 each. So we came. When I started going, I wear my tuxedo.
With the tails?
No. Traditional tux.
Okay.
Not a waiter tux. No tux and tails, But it's that time of the year where it's our gala.
Mm-hmm.
And so we show up. The best and brightest are recognized for their achievements, and the best and the brightest, and everyone comes to celebrate their achievements.
Yes.
And to meet and greet and see and talk to your friends. And this year is exceptionally wonderful and exciting because we haven't got to hang out in 3 years because of COVID.
Oh, wow. So this is the first time back.
This is the first time back after COVID.
How exciting.
So it will be February 4th at 5 p.m. at Cal State San Bernardino, San
Manuel?
Thank you, San Manuel.
Mm-hmm. The north building? The north end?
Yes.
Gotcha.
The north building, San Manuel.
Mm-hmm.
The student center.
Yes.
And it's exceptionally beautiful and wonderful. And you want to come? And it's a celebration of Black excellence. We have wonderful people in San Bernardino area, Inland Empire area, who have done wonderful collaborations and have worked hard all their lives to make things happen. The recent Civil Rights Museum that opened in Riverside.
Okay.
Rose Mays was the driver of that, and she's going to be honored. Well, Rose Mays has worked for the housing, my goodness, I can't remember. It's not the Housing Authority, but Fair Housing Council in Riverside for more than 30 years.
Wow.
All day, every day, helping people with housing issues who are being evicted, who are trying to find housing, etc. And her dream was this. She's also one of the people in Riverside who have driven the remembrance and the advocacy of Black history and Black's contribution to our region and this country. You know, it's significant. You know, Black people helped win World War II.
Period.
Black people, you know, were there for the technology revolution, the aircraft revolution, the ship revolution, all this wonderful manufacturing. We came, we did that, right? And we just didn't do it as people who did the manual labor. We were the brilliant people and the human computers, you know, we did it at all of the levels.
Yeah, the engineers.
We were also engineers. We were also pilots. We were also maintenance workers. And we also invented wonderful things.
Yes.
So, but the goal is to recognize the people in our areas so that the children and the other people can see it's not just those people there. We've got great people right here.
Right in your back door.
No,
Backyard.
across the street.
Yes.
Back right across the street. Remember when I talked about Paramount Estates? I literally lived across the street from a rocket scientist.
Okay.
William Cont Kennebrew III was one of this nation's rocket scientists who designed weapons at China Lake Navy base, weapons base. He designed these missiles. He lived across the street from me. At the time, I wanted to be an astronaut. It was like meeting the President of the United States.
Got you.
And I got to walk across the street and talk to him on the weekends.
How awesome.
His son was my friend.
How awesome.
But, you know, I'm reminding you that we have great, fabulous, wonderful people.
Right here.
Right here. And that's what the Black Rose Awards is about, is recognizing those unsung people who've done these wonderful things, who are a positive part of our community.
Wow, it's gonna be this Saturday, so it's gonna be an amazing event.
This Saturday, yeah.
So for people who may not know, and I guess it might be different from business to business, what would you say the key duties of a PR are?
You don't know what you don't know. Your customers don't know what they don't know. So your job in public relations is to tell the people what's good about the product, good and services that matches and is alignment with their wants, needs, and desires.
I love it. Very precisely put.
So
I love that.
I'm telling the story, but I'm telling the story that you want to hear, and it's the truth. Here's the thing that people don't understand. Let's say this business has 100 attributes that this product has, right? As a manufacturer, I think it's 12, 15, and 27. As the purchaser and the consumer, you think it's 3, 7, and 9. My job is to tell you about 3, 7, and 9.
Okay.
Because that's the part you care about. It does 100 things.
Yeah.
So my job is not to lie, but my job is to find the things that it does that you want to know about.
Got you. Because why tell you something that you don't care about?
Correct. So my job is to find out the things that you care about and tell you how great this product is, and it does those things that you care about.
I love that. How important in your profession is it to speak well, write well? Obviously, you dress well. How important is that? And the B part, I guess I'll let you answer that, and I have a B part to that section as well.
I learned early that because I spoke well, because I went to a Catholic elementary school, back when the nuns could beat you, and when you misspoke, you got the rap across the knuckles. I learned to speak well. I'm having some troubles today, but I learned to speak well. And I spoke well. So when I talked to people on the phone, they thought that I was a specific ethnicity.
Gotcha.
And when I got there and they found out I was not, many deals that I was bringing the contract to sign and receive the check fell through.
Gotcha.
And so...
is that still consistent to today?
Yes.
Okay.
It happens less, but it still happens.
Okay.
So I learned when I walk in the room, the first thing they're going to see is an African-American male. The second, and I'm 6'2" and 240 pounds.
I'm here.
I'm huge. No, I'm a big person.
Yeah.
And I'm black.
Yeah.
I'm scary.
That's the call.
So the second thing you better see is a professional. Because I can't stop you from seeing a black guy.
Period.
But the second thing you see is a professional. And then you hear a professional, and then when we talk and I demonstrate, you see that we do professional work.
Gotcha. And then everything is...
So that is why I have the presentation I do, because I want you to write me a $50,000 check.
Yeah. And we can keep it moving.
And I want you to write me a $80,000 check.
Gotcha.
And you don't do that when you're wearing a graphic tee, your hat on sideways, baggy shoes, and tennis shoes, baggy jeans and tennis shoes.
And you don't speak well or present your,
And people say, my brother, again, who's 10 years younger, and he works in Hollywood, and I would tell him this, he says, but you don't understand, Carl, and up there in our profession, everybody dresses casual. I said, oh, really? What ethnicity and color are they?
Hello. Hello.
And he told me, and I'm like, yeah, let me guess, you're usually the only black person on the set behind the camera. Yeah, you got to step it up.
Got to stand out even more.
No. I went to school with a brilliant young man named Scott Leslie. His father invented the Leslie organ speaker. You know the organ speaker with the twirling cone?
Yes.
He sold it to CBS for a shit ton of money.
I bet.
So before Scott was born. So Scott grew up in a nice house in Altadena, right, with tennis courts and a Piper Cub trainer that teaches you how to fly an aircraft in the garage and a 26-track recording studio. Scott looked like a bum off the street.
Because he could.
No.
Okay.
Scott is white and brilliant, and he already knows those people. When I stand next to Scott and dress like that, I look dangerous. Because I'm black.
Got you. So it's about looking less threatening?
It's about looking positively capable.
Okay, I like that.
You can call it less threatening, but you have to resonate capability.
And professionalism. Yes, sir.
And so, while you may not want to wear a shirt and tie, you want to wear a polo shirt and slacks.
At least.
And shoes. You don't get to wear your Nikes. You get to wear shoes.
We're talking about Stacey Adams, people.
Right. Or Florsheim's. Or you know, or more Bostonians, and there's lots of different shoes. But you know, you get to wear shoes, and people say, "I want to wear my tennis shoes." Oh, look at Jay-Z. He went, you ain't Jay-Z.
Yeah, don't. Exceptions to the rule.
Say that again.
Exceptions to the rule.
When you're trying to break in, you have to be acceptable. I have to look at you and see capability. Because again, I know those 5 folks over there and they look like me.
Yeah.
And another thing, as when I was doing my mechanic stuff, you know, I grease all my hands and I'm wearing terrible clothes. And there were people who knew me as a mechanic who didn't see me when I dressed up. And there were people who knew me as, you know, dressed up, right? Who, if they saw me they would walk by me on the weekend and not see me.
Not even know who you were.
But when I'm dressed, I get hugs. And so I learned. Now the experience were really their extremes, but I learned.
100%.
People who like me don't see me. People who like me don't see me when I dress like that.
Because they don't recognize you.
They don't want to see you because you're a big, black, dangerous looking person. I don't even want to get eye contact.
Got you. Don't even want to look at you.
Right. What you looking at?
I got you. Got you.
We know guys like that.
Got you. White woman in trouble.
No. We know guys like that.
Yeah.
Why you eyeballing me?
Yep.
What you looking at?
Yeah.
So if you're working in a professional world, do you want to make money?
Always.
So, you know, Miles did not show up on the stage looking like a bum.
No, none of the jazz performers did.
They all look good.
Yeah.
Because
I think that was all about black excellence too as well.
it's not just black excellence.
Professionalism.
It's professionalism and presenting a positive image to let people know that you will show up on time, do the job right, won't cause trouble.
Yeah.
All the stereotypes, negative stereotypes about being black have to be addressed. Your dress addresses them.
Got you. The way you dress addresses them. I like it.
I used to, you know, when I was young and hip, I had my little goatee and stuff. Shaped all that stuff up.
Gotcha.
Disneyland.
I thought you were going to say Dizzy Gillespie for some reason.
No, Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The only person at Disneyland who had facial hair was the owner. Walt Disney had a little mustache. Everybody else, none, because it's non-threatening. You want to take away all that. You are in the background. Their job, people's job, is to come in and have a wonderful experience.
Got you.
So if I'm doing sales, I'm knocking on the door trying to sell you stuff. I want to take away all the negatives.
I like that.
Because if you don't like people with mustaches, and I got a mustache, I'm out.
Just
if you
that
don't
simple.
like people with earrings, and I got an earring, I'm out.
Just that
If you
simple.
don't like people who wear hats, I got a hat, I'm out.
Got you. But you can keep a good watch game though, right?
You better have a good watch game.
Hey!
Because the watch game says a message. You notice I don't have any jewelry on except the watch. No earrings, no piercings,
Yep.
no rings. If you're married, you wear your wedding ring.
Yes.
And maybe your class ring or your Air Force ring or or your Mason ring. But yeah, no bracelets, no necklaces. Because those are people trying to prove something to someone else.
Yep. I love it. You know, the reason why I asked about I kind of knew the answer already, but the reason why I asked is because I was told for like copywriters, they want people to use like improper English because people relate to it more now in social media. Like, this is the best place you ain't gonna ever see. And it like works like for clickbait. Have you heard about that type of thing for copywriting, using like improper English to get people to relate more?
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. It should be Winston tastes good as a cigarette should. Yeah, I know about it. And if you study advertising, they've always used non sequiturs, things that don't quite match reg, so it sounds off to your ear to get you to pay attention. We're exposed to more than 100,000 messages a day. Why are you going to hear mine?
What makes you stand out? What makes you important?
Why are you going to hear mine? Coca-Cola, you hear Coca-Cola's name 12 to 16 times a day.
Okay.
On purpose.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
What's the number one soft drink in the world?
Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola. Brand awareness. Not only you hear it so much, that way when you go to buy a beverage, you just heard it recently, so it's on the top of the mind. When I think of a soda, I've heard Coke 5 times in the last hour or 3 times in the last hour.
Yeah.
I think of Coke first.
Got you.
I don't even drink soda anymore.
Got you.
And I think of Coke first.
Like that.
So, yeah, power of branding, power of advertising. And yes, using phrases that are different and they stand out can give you more top of the mind awareness, can help you break through.
Gotcha. What type of clients would you say that you represent? Or is there a...
Clients that make the world a better place to live.
Okay.
I don't work with car dealerships. I don't work for tobacco. I don't work for alcohol. I don't work for... I definitely won't work for the KKK.
Okay.
I don't work for drugs. I don't do marijuana dispensaries. It's legal, that's fine, but I choose not to do that.
Okay.
I don't work for car dealerships because I choose not to do that because too many people in the industry take advantage of the people who buy a vehicle.
Facts.
I choose not to be a part of that.
That makes sense. And I think that what's really important about this podcast episode, and like the video, guys, is that a lot of it has been about choices. Our conversation has been about choices.
It's all about choices.
And I love that. I love that.
Do you want to be the richest man in the world? Okay, give up everything else. Steve Jobs worked 20 hours a day. Jeff Bezos worked 20 hours a day. He still works 12, 16 hours a day.
Yeah, he's still pushing.
You don't have time to equivocate. Do you want to buy this camera? What does it do? Why is it different from any other camera we've got? No, thank you.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
Nikon's adding a new camera. Yes, we'll add the camera because it's a Nikon, because we know Nikon is going to market that thing exceptionally well because it's nice. So Nikon wants to add a new camera? Yes.
Give it to me.
Canon's got a new camera? Yes.
Yep.
Apple's got a new phone? Yes. Carl Dameron came up with a new stick? No, thank you. Carl Dameron created a new phone? No, thank you. Carl Dameron's got a new Xerox machine? No, thank you. Yeah. But it's better than Xerox and Canon and everyone else. Yeah. No, thank you.
Got you. Who is this person?
The sale starts before the salesman calls.
Say it one more time.
The sale starts before the salesman calls. If you knock on the door and I don't know who are you, what's your product, what does it do,
yeah,
why should I buy from you, where are you from? No, who are you, where do you come from, what's the name of your company? I never heard of it. Now, what is it you wanted to sell me? That's an old McGraw-Hill ad from the 50s.
That's a publishing company, correct?
Yes, McGraw-Hill Publishing. They published like 50 magazines and annuals. Yes.
Wow.
So when salespeople are trained correctly, right? They learn. When if I come to your door to sell a Carl Dameron copier, I'm not getting past the front desk. But if I'm selling a Xerox and the copy machine's been giving you a hard time, you're going to talk to me.
Yes.
I'm going to get past you to talk to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to promote and advertise who you are and what you do
To get it done. You mentioned earlier, and that makes so much sense. I love that. You mentioned earlier about, being first impressions and people seeing you as being a black man, you have to be professional. So a question that I have to ask is, obviously you serve a diverse community of people, right?
The vast majority of my clients are white.
Okay. So I apologize for assuming. I just assumed that it was
The vast majority of my paying clients are white.
Gotcha. So the question's still related. Do you have to approach the way you would market, I guess, a white customer as opposed to a black customer or a different person of color product?
It's all about target demographics.
In the end of the day.
It doesn't matter, right? Charles Drew invented plasma, right? So
Yeah.
when you go get a blood transfusion, it was a black man's invention.
Yes.
You don't care.
Just give me the transfusion.
I'm going to I need blood.
Yeah.
I'm going to, okay, I am a cancer survivor. I am 4.5 years in remission from leukemia and lymphoma.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Every 4 to 8 weeks, I go get gamma globulin, which is a condensed blood product, because my immune system degenerates and it builds it back up. And when I'm on my down cycle, I'm exhausted by noon. And the day after I've got my gamma globulin, I can stay up till midnight.
Okay.
So I don't know who invented it. I don't care who invented it. I'm happy and blessed to receive it.
I love that. Perfect answer.
So
Perfect answer.
one of the things they say in advertising, you don't sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. So in other words, who is your target market? What do they want? What do they need? How does your product meet their needs? And the ethnicity of who designed it is inconsequential.
Okay.
Unless you're selling to someone to which it is consequential.
Can you give an example?
Jazz. Miles Davis. I'm going to listen, and I love Miles Davis because Miles Davis is black, and I want to listen to black music. There is a perception that black people make much better jazz than white people. And a perception to which I agree with.
I know a lot of people that agree with that one.
So when you're promoting jazz, you promote blacks. When you're promoting
Country?
when you're promoting down-home, gut-busting blues,
Okay.
it's black. When I'm promoting country and western music, of which 85% of the audience is white, I am promoting a white, not just a white, but it's a rural white ethic,
Specific.
working class ethic.
Yeah. Super specific.
Yes, but again, it's the target market.
Yeah.
And you want to hear something really crazy?
Please.
Country music is the blues.
Yes. Yeah. Originally the blues. 100%.
No, country music is the blues with a twang. You listen, you take the twang away, and you listen to it's the blues.
I remember when I heard Charlie Pride for the first time. I loved it. And I didn't even know what he looked like. I just loved it.
So yeah, all marketing, all products are about the benefit of the product and the wants, desires, and needs of the target market. Period.
Wow. What's some of the misconceptions when people come into your office about your work?
What's the one advertising media I can use to win? What's the silver bullet? There's not one. You want to be everywhere. I can't afford to be everywhere. I can only afford to choose one place to be. How I ask people, what's your budget? How much money do you have?
That's it.
And they think that I'm going to sell them this, if you got $5, it's $5.
Got you.
But if you got $50,000, it's $50,000.
For the same thing.
Right. They don't understand. It's not buying a car. Well, actually, it's kind of like buying a car.
Yeah.
Because you can buy a Fiat 500 or you can buy a Maybach.
Ooh.
You can buy a Cadillac XTS or a Cadillac XT5 now or XT4.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can buy a BMW 700 series. Or you can buy a Cavalier.
Okay.
Or you buy a Toyota Camry. What's your budget?
Period.
How much money do you want to spend dictates what you can get.
It's simple, like everything in the world.
We had a client we launched into the Inland Empire, the Art Institute, and we had 68 billboards.
Wow.
68 billboards a month. KCal, Cola, KGGI, K-Frog, The Sun, The Press, the Redlands Daily Fax, the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin, and the High Desert News. Spending $100,000, more than $100,000 a month.
A month?
Yes.
Wow. For how long?
Years.
Wow.
When we launched Argosy University, we're spending $85,000 a month.
Wow.
Radio, TV, newspapers, billboards, everywhere.
Gotcha.
Because you got to hear it 6 times before you hear it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the silver bullet? It's not a silver bullet. It's everywhere.
No such thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Art Institute was here in the Inland Empire? 2005, 2007, 2005 to 2010?
I didn't live out here during that time.
Okay. They were in the paper 3 times a week. We also did aggressive stories in PR. People say, you can't get that many stories run. I would have reporters call me and say, Carl, what the hell are you doing? You're getting more stories in the paper than I do, and they pay me to write for them. Well, I've got a team. 1, I got a team of writers.
Yes.
2, we're writing interesting stories. 3, we've got interesting topics to write about.
Period.
Because I got culinary to write about and all the chef stuff and competition. I got interior design.
Mm-hmm.
I got graphic design. I've got different topics.
Yeah, you got a whole.
So I'm writing stories about everything. So there might be 2 Art Institute stories in the paper the same day, but one's talking about culinary, and the other's talking about how these students won this graphic arts.
I love it.
And another thing we did is that, all these students have to do a design project.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of making up some empty widget thing, I pitched the idea of let's partner them with local nonprofits, and they'll have a graphic project, and so they work with the client, they learn how to work with the client, and
Yeah.
they produce a graphic project, and when they're done, that organization will have this beautiful product that they get to use in perpetuity forever. And now the student has something in his portfolio that's not a widget, but is real. So when they graduate, they've done 4 or 5 of those. They've learned to work with a client, interpret the client's needs and wants,
Yep.
and deliver. And when I get out, I have real things in my portfolio, not made-ups.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
They loved it, and we integrated. So now I've got stories about how these students are helping all these wonderful nonprofits. And they publish it because it's news.
Mm-hmm. I love it. What's something that a client can do to make your job easier?
Give me a budget. Give me a budget and give me all the data, statistical data they have on the product, goods and services, and answer my questions.
Okay.
One of the biggest problems, you ever go into a Walmart and you're looking for something on sale and you're asking the person, and the service person,
Yeah.
salesperson doesn't even know it's on sale.
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's a failure of marketing. That's a failure of management.
Mm-hmm.
So you make sure the whole sales team gets a copy of the ad 3 days before it comes out.
Gotcha. That's the rotten head fish scenario.
A fish rots from the head.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, I don't know what I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know there's going to be a sale unless you tell me. So you have to not only tell the potential customers there's a sale, your whole internal team has to know there's a sale.
Yes.
Everybody needs to know what we're
Yes.
talking about. What's our talking point this week? What's our talking point next week? What's on sale? So I need the customer to give me a realistic budget, to give me all the demographic and psychographic information they've got on their customers, right? Tell me, give me all the information. Just don't tell me the 3 things you think are great about the product. Give me the list of 100. Everything the thing does. Well, that's just too much for you to wade through. That's my job. Because the 3 you like are not the 3 the customer likes.
Yeah.
And you pick the 3 you like. Customer does not care about the 3 you like.
Yeah.
Our tires now are filled with nitrogen so that the air, because the nitrogen molecule is larger, and so the tires leak less air so that they'll stay at the proper inflation for more than a year. I don't care.
No. I like the color of the tires.
It's got Pirelli tires.
Yeah.
It's got Michelin tires.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. Because in your mind, because Michelin, Pirelli does their own great marketing campaign, they're good tires.
Mm-hmm. Keep it pushing. I like that.
Tailor the message to the recipient.
I like that.
When you meet a girl, you don't tell her that, baby, I only last 30 seconds.
Uh-oh, let her find out.
That's her problem. That's her problem. As Richard Pryor said, I got mine, you get yours.
That part.
But you do not lead.
Thought it was a race.
You don't lead with that topic.
Yeah.
That's not what you lead with
Yeah.
when you're talking to a girl.
Yeah.
You talk about, hey, I got a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hey, I started my own company, baby. I work for Dameron Communications.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that for 35 years. I own my own house.
Yeah.
I have several cars, classics, beautiful, including a new Cadillac.
Boom, got a Jaguar.
I have a classic Jag.
Yeah.
You know the Jag. It looks like a Jag.
That part.
It looks like a Jag, baby.
Yeah, I call it Mick Jag.
Got the limo doors and limo seat with little trays.
Mm.
I go nice places.
Yep.
I hang out to nice things. As a matter of fact, why don't we go to dinner at the Mission Inn at Dwayne's Restaurant Friday night at 7 o'clock?
Boom.
That's how you lead.
Of course.
You don't lead with, this is the only suit I got. It's lucky it's blue, because, then I can wear the blue jacket with other different slacks. You don't lead with your negatives. You lead with your positives.
Always.
You lead with the things that you think that they want to hear based upon your experience in talking to women.
Please say that one more time.
You lead with the things that you think women want to hear based upon your experience and interaction with women.
Gotcha. And the same thing applies to business.
Yes, you're selling. You ever look at a beautiful woman and she's with that guy, you go, is she really going out with him?
Yeah.
Did she marry him? Good Lord.
Mm-hmm. How'd he get her?
How did he get her? That brother knows how to sell.
I love that.
He figured out how to sell to her.
Gotcha. Ooh, I love it. And what I noticed about your team, because you mentioned you have a team, right? And And I'm learning more and more that...
You looked at the website, DameronCommunications.com.
That is correct, sir.
And you went to About Us and looked at our diverse team.
That is correct.
Thank you very much.
That is correct. And, you talked about... Well, what I learned is that it's about understanding people. And I noticed that you have two people on your team. One is Dr. Gary, and I'm just going to say out of respect, Dr. Z.
Dr. Gary Manross and Dr. Greg Zarovnik. They both have PhDs in communications, and one is a double PhD in communications and psychology. Dr. Zarovnik and Dr. Manross is a world-class researcher.
And that's what I wanted to get into, which is the question is basically, it must be very important to know about human psychology and behavior by having these gentlemen on your team that have a behavioral background and a psychology background.
That's the essence of what we do. Hey, baby, not only am I going to take you home tonight, but I'm taking your friend home tonight. Mm-hmm. We all three going. And they like it and they want to do it.
Gotcha. By knowing their psychology and behavior.
Now, it's not going to work on every woman.
Of course.
But psychology is the behavior of human beings, and our job is to find out their wants, their likes, their dislikes, and what they like about this product so we can get them to buy it.
Of course.
And that's why I only work for good. I refuse to use my powers for evil.
Got you.
Because if I do come up with ways to make you drink more liquor, it hurts you. Mm-hmm. If I convince you to smoke more pot, it hurts you. Mm-hmm. But if I convince you to go see your doctor for your annual checkup and to take all your meds with you, right?
Like the RSV?
No, all your medications with you.
Yes.
To have your regular annual checkup.
Yes.
And to let you know when you have your regular checkup, you want to make sure that you get an AIDS check. You want to be checked for HIV, not because you might have HIV, but because when you get an HIV test, it's the big blood test that also detects most cancers. Mm-hmm. And hepatitis C and all these other things. And because if you ask for a cancer test, you have a long questionnaire to fill out, but if you ask for an HIV/AIDS test, they have to give it to you because they changed the law. If you ask for a test, you get it. Mm-hmm. But you don't know if you don't know.
It's that simple.
But when I teach you that and I train you and I teach you and I promote you for you to do that, now we find all these illnesses sooner. You get treated sooner. You live a healthier, longer, happier life.
Yes.
And I got to contribute to that. I get to work to make the world a better place.
Gotcha.
I get to promote the Black Culture Awards, the Black Rose Awards, to show people the wonderful and positive things that blacks have done here in the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
Rose Mays and the history of Jimmy Jews, who was the first black firefighter here in San Bernardino.
Mr. Tillman?
No, Jimmy Jews.
Oh, no, I was going to add another one as a...
He's not being awarded, recognized this year, but he has been recognized in the past. Mm-hmm. But we get to talk about that, and I get to promote it. I get to help make sure that, there are articles about the Black Rose Awards in 7 papers.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we wrote it, and we distributed it, and we asked respectfully for the papers to print them, and they did.
I love it.
Some on the front pages. And I got to do that. I got to make the world a better place. I got to show that 9-year-old girl who thinks that black people can't do anything, Rose Mays, who civil rights, Deborah Robertson, the mayor of Rialto. I get to show her these successful people. Yeah. She gets to read the story to know they did it. I can.
She can do it well. Representation really does matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am privileged to do that.
Gotcha. And thank you for your work. And thank you for I guess you could say your moral compass, and I guess it might be also related back to the Marvel thing and superheroes. Who's your favorite superhero, by the way? Uh-oh.
It's Spider-Man.
Hey!
And it's Spider-Man because I started reading him, when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And he was a kid. And he had the problems of a kid.
Yeah.
And I could relate to him. And the other thing is that he learned that his inaction caused the worst devastation.
Got you.
And then also his Uncle Ben died in his arms.
Yeah. Relatable story.
So it's such a relatable story, and with great power comes great responsibility. And that comes from the French saying, noblesse oblige. The noble are obligated to take care of the peasants.
Mm-hmm.
Those who have are obligated to help those who haven't. The brilliant, the geniuses are obligated to help those who are not. They took this teaching of the divine right of kings that comes from all the European nobility, and they distilled it into with great power comes great responsibility, so that we can understand it. And that's the brilliance of Marvel. There are well-read, brilliant people, who, as Stanley said, if I want to use the word arachnid, I'm going to use it, even though the reader's 10, he can look it up. And I did. And I developed a vocabulary. I wasn't just reading Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I'm also reading, Dumas, The Three Musketeers.
Okay.
The Count of Monte Cristo. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Okay. Heavy literature.
I'm reading, not heavy literature, real literature.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff was popcorn. That was the Stephen King of the day.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Christmas Carol. What's the author?
Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens. He got paid a penny a word. His books were written, they were in the newspapers in sections. And then when he finished the newspapers, he put them together as books. They weren't just published as books. He was literally writing stuff in the daily paper that was designed to be entertaining. It was literally pop music. It was popcorn.
Awesome.
It was the most basic, simple stuff that that people did not regard. It was not high literature. It was for the masses. It was maximum accessibility. And when he was done, he put it together in a book, and they sold it, and people bought it again.
Smart
and
man.
Here we are 100 years later, and we're still buying it and reading it because he's writing about the human condition, a way that we can all understand, like, and enjoy, and it matters, and it makes difference. When Oliver Twist comes to the person and says, "Can I have some more, please? I want more. I'm hungry." When Charles Dickens' character Scrooge says, "Then let them die and decrease the population," he's talking to all of us. Mm-hmm. He's reminding us that we are our brother's keeper, or we decide to let them die and decrease the population. Choose who you want to be.
Choices.
That's what literature does. And now it's great literature, but it's great literature now. I mean, Papa Got a Brand New Band is now great.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came out, it was dirty, nasty race music.
Colored music. Mm-hmm.
Race music.
Race music, I apologize.
The first it was race music.
Yeah.
Shout by
the Isley Brothers?
The Isley Brothers in the 50s. It was about sex. And it was nasty, disgusting race music.
Mm-hmm. Now it's a hit. The Beatles did it.
Not only is it a hit,
it's a classic.
It's been a hit and a classic for 73 years.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
It is on the list of the 100 greatest songs ever written. It is on that list.
That is gnarly. Wow.
So, all too often, we say something's classic or highbrow when we have no idea what it was created and how it was created. It is art. It's 70, if it's 100 years old and people still reading it, perhaps it has something to say to you.
Yeah.
And don't say, well, that's the old white guys, that ain't got shit to do with me. That's those stories that he wrote, that Charles Dickens wrote, was about dirt poor people advancing and growing, who had nothing, who everyone looked down to them. Sounds like the black experience to me.
Yeah. No, I don't go into the mindset of, oh, a white person wrote it and I'm not going to read it, because you're missing out.
And I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And there are some people who do, but
Yeah, I'm with you. And, I want to congratulate you for all your work you're doing. I also want to congratulate you for being awarded in the Up City for the top
thank you.
last year. Congratulations for that. That was pretty
top advertising agency in California.
In California? I love it. Congrats to that. I know it's not an easy feat to do, but we got to give people their flowers when they're here. And so I have to congratulate you for that. I know you're super busy doing a lot of things, but can you tell us what current projects you are currently working on?
That's always funny because my mind locks up. Okay, I'm currently working on a 107 unit mixed use master plan housing community.
Wow.
That's got housing for all. I'm working on the Black Rose Awards and the Black Culture Foundation's Black History Celebration. I'm working with the Salvation Army. I've been working with them for 20 years.
Gotcha.
To promote those people who are in need of services, the hungry, the homeless, the hopeless, and the Salvation works together with them to feed them, house them, and help them through the difficulties that they have. And I'm privileged to have done their public relations for 23 years.
Gotcha. They came in 1887, right?
1887, they came to the Inland Empire. They have been here. They came to San Bernardino in 1887. One of the first cores that opened in California.
Wow, amazing.
Before San Diego. I work for LaSalle Medical Associates, which is 7 clinics that treat primarily Latino audience, served by primarily Medi-Cal, and it gives them top A1 medical care, and has been recognized by the CDC, the local medical association, as delivering some of the finest care available anywhere. That's where I received my health care since 2004. That's where my children received their health care all of their lives. Those are the people who made sure when I got cancer that I lived, and I'm here and I'm alive. I went septic. I almost died.
Wow.
Several times, and they made sure Dr. Albert Arteaga, the president of the South Medical Associates, made sure I had everything I need to live and be alive and to live well. And they don't deliver that level of service. They deliver that level of service to all of the people who go there. And I'm proud of that. I'm also working with Danielle Hobbs, who is a dancer who choreographed for Beyonce, and she was a local prodigy.
Okay.
And she worked on for Cirque du Soleil and other people, just a brilliant. And we're promoting her book.
So many projects.
Yeah,
it's endless.
Yes, we got multiple projects with multiple people doing multiple things, and again, I'm privileged, and I only work for people I like on projects I like, that have relevance.
I love that.
And if you were just selling chewing gum, that's fine and wonderful, and there's nothing wrong with selling chewing gum.
Yeah.
But
It's not your interest.
I'm probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
Now I'm a car guy, so if you're selling tires, or wheels, or car stereos, I can get into that.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're selling stereos, I can get in there because I love music, and I'm sure you noticed that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love music. I love good music. If you're selling home repairs, does your product, goods, or service have a value? Does it do things to improve the human condition? If it does, I'm interested. You're selling washing machines. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So I can have a washer and dryer in my home so I don't have to go to the laundromat.
Yeah.
That's huge for a family.
Very.
So that's what we do.
I love it. Current projects. And so, Carl, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Let's say 100 years have passed by, 150 years, 250 years passed by. What would you like your empire to look like, whether it's in business, in life, in culture, in society? What would you like your empire to have looked like?
I would like to be known as the best advertising and public relations firm in the Inland Empire. Because I live here. I want to make here better. I want to make it better for me, for my children, for my grandchildren, for my friends and my neighbors. And I can. I know the mayor. I know the mayor in 7 cities. I know the Board of Supervisors in 2 counties, Riverside and San Bernardino. They may not pick up the phone when I call, but they do call back.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Congress members, I know the Assembly members, I know the state senators. I've known some of them before they ran for office. I'm not a fair weather friend. And we are privileged to have wonderful people who are elected officials who truly care about the people they serve. And I'm privileged to have some of them be friends. And I'm privileged to help some of them with their projects. And that matters. And there are many things that I've done that people will never know that it's me. And that it's better. That the Salvation Army, we're planning to consolidate all of our properties into one. We've got 4 different locations. We're going to have one big location on 5 to 6 acres, and we're going to increase the size of our homeless shelter. Yeah, I'd like that to be part of my legacy, even though I only did a little part. There's this much to do, but I did this part. Many hands make light work.
Mm-hmm.
So my legacy, that we were here, we were good, what we did, and I made a difference.
I love that. And you're already doing it as we speak.
Thank you very much. You're very kind.
You're already doing it as we speak.
Remember, it's a choice.
Yeah, everything's about choices.
Decide what kind of man you want to be. Decide what kind of woman you want to be. And be it. Decide who you are, what your values are. Make a plan and do that shit.
Yeah.
Don't be 40 and say, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
And if you're 40 and you don't know how you got here, don't be 50 and say, I don't know how I got here. Make a plan. If the plan doesn't work, make another plan.
I love it. And for the people, I love it. And we're just about to get out of here. For the people who would like to work with you and contact you, can you please tell us all how we can reach you?
You can reach me at the website at DameronCommunications.com. That's Dameron, communications with an S.com. You can also email me at Carl@DameronCommunications.com. And you can call me at 909-534-9500. Call today.
Call now. Do you guys have a social media or anything like that? Like a Instagram or a
Yes.
Facebook? Okay.
We're everywhere.
Okay.
Carl Dameron.
Gotcha. Can you spell it out one more time for them so they know?
CarlDameron. You want to find me on LinkedIn? It's Carl Dameron. You want to find me on Twitter? It's Carl Dameron. You want to find me on Instagram? It's Carl Dameron. You want to find me on Facebook? It's Carl Dameron.
Boom.
And it's also, in some places, it's also Dameron Communications.
Uh-huh.
But I'm easy to find.
Gotcha. You could even Google him and you'll find him.
Oh, yes. You will find me.
Even in the yellow pages, if you guys know what that is.
Yes.
Yeah.
The goal is to be everywhere and to be accessible.
Exactly. See, not only does he apply it to his clients, he applies it to himself. Take that as a note in the paper.
If you can't do it for yourself, how can you do it for me?
Yeah. Period. Dot. Carl, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Pleasure.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, wasn't it a great, great, great interview? We learned so much.
Way too long. I'm too verbose.
I know we had a good time. I'm pretty sure we had a good time,
I had a great time.
So, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about the history. We learned about what he does, the work, You know where to find him. Everything will be in the link in the description, so check it out. And we thank you guys and appreciate everybody, you guys, for watching and listening. Please like the video, subscribe, share. We appreciate you. Again, my name is Antonio Lee Miles, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right? Peace.
Good luck editing this.